The fire tore through the small Tennessee home in the dead of night, leaving nothing but charred debris and ashes in its wake. Inside, the remains of the children's grandparents were found, but 9-year-old Chloie Leverette and 7-year-old Gage Daniel were gone. No bodies, no traces, just silence. What happened to Chloie and Gage? Did they perish in the fire, their remains somehow never recovered? Or did they vanish before the flames consumed everything, leaving behind a mystery that has haunted their family and baffled investigators for over a decade? This is not just a story about a tragic fire. It's a story about two innocent children who disappeared without a trace, and the endless questions that remain unanswered. Welcome to Dark Matters TV, where we tell these stories with the love and respect they deserve. We tell deeply unsettling mysteries and heartbreaking true crime stories that deserve to be heard. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notification, because these stories demand justice, remembrance, and your voice. In the heart of rural Tennessee lies Unionville, a close-knit community where neighbors are more like family and life moves at a gentle pace. But on the night of September 23, 2012, tranquility was shattered by a devastating fire that consumed the McLaren family home. Amidst the ashes, a haunting mystery emerged: the unexplained disappearance of 9-year-old Chloie Leverette and her 7-year-old half-brother, Gage Daniel. Leon Bubba McLaren and his wife, Molly, were the pillars of their family. Known for their warmth and generosity, they had taken in their grandchildren, Chloie and Gage, providing them with a stable and loving home. The children thrived under their care, enjoying the simple pleasures of farm life, riding ponies, tending to chickens, and exploring the vast countryside. Chloie, born on June 23, 2003, was a vivacious girl with a zest for life. Gage, born on June 29, 2005, faced challenges due to Dandy Walker syndrome, a rare congenital brain condition affecting movement. Despite this, he was a cheerful child, often seen shadowing his grandfather around the farm. On that fateful Sunday evening, neighbors spotted Chloie and Gage playing outside around 6:30 p.m. By 9:30 p.m., flames engulfed the McLaren home. The fire was so intense it reduced the entire house to ashes within minutes, leaving behind nothing but charred debris. It burned hot enough to destroy almost everything. Firefighters arrived to a scene of utter devastation. The blaze was so intense that it took hours to control, hindered by the rural location and limited water access. If you are finding this story as chilling as we are, hit that subscribe button and turn on notification so you never miss a case. In the days following the devastating fire that reduced the McLaren home to ash, Unionville was gripped by confusion and quiet panic. 2 grandparents had perished in the blaze. The remains of Leon and Molly were discovered, along with those of the family's dog and a pet bird. But their grandchildren, 9-year-old Chloie Leverette and 7-year-old Gage Daniel, were simply gone. No bodies, no remains, no signs that they had ever been there when the flames consumed everything. At first, investigators believed the most obvious explanation: the children must have died in the fire. But as crews sifted through the smoldering debris, combing every inch of the blackened rubble with cadaver dogs and forensic experts, no trace of Chloie or Gage could be found. Not a bone fragment, not a tooth, nothing. That silence raised an unsettling question. Had the fire merely hidden a tragedy, or masked something far worse? The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, or TBI, stepped in quickly, taking the lead in what was now no longer just a house fire investigation, but a potential missing persons case. Chloie and Gage were officially listed as endangered children, and the state's resources were mobilized to find them. But almost immediately, the case was clouded in controversy. Despite the urgency, no Amber Alert was issued. Officials said the case didn't meet the strict criteria. There was no confirmed abduction, no description of a suspect, no vehicle to trace. And without those elements, the state wouldn't press the alert button that could have flooded phones, TV screens, and highways with the children's faces in the crucial first hours. If you are yet to hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now, as it helps us shade more light to these stories. For their devastated family, it felt like a betrayal. They weren't asking for perfection, just action. The FBI soon joined the search, offering federal resources and expertise. Together with the TBI, they canvassed the area, dug deeper into the fire's origin, and chased every possible lead. Posters went up. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children placed Chloie and Gage on their national database, broadcasting their story far beyond Tennessee. Still, time dragged on, and nothing emerged. Investigators turned back to the fire, hoping it might offer some overlooked clue. The Tennessee Fire Marshal's office examined the blaze in detail, trying to determine whether it was truly possible that two small bodies could have been destroyed so completely. The conclusion? Inconclusive, which only deepened the nightmare. Were Chloie and Gage taken before the fire? Was the blaze meant to cover something up? Or had they somehow survived and escaped into a world that had already forgotten their names? The government's efforts never entirely stopped. To this day, the TBI lists the case as active. But more than a decade later, no arrests have been made. No persons of interest publicly identified. No closure given. Only silence. And two young faces frozen in time. Cheryl Daniel, the children's mother, remained steadfast till this day, in her belief that Chloie and Gage were alive. She cited the absence of their remains and the presence of their grandparents and pets' remains as evidence. Cheryl also pointed to the fire's insufficient temperature to completely incinerate bodies, reinforcing her conviction that her children were taken. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued an Amber Alert, and age-progressed photos were disseminated nationwide. Despite numerous tips and reported sightings, including a potential sighting of Chloie at a diner in 2013, none led to concrete answers. Cheryl continued to hold birthday parties and vigils, keeping her children's memories alive and appealing to the public for information. The Unionville community rallied around the family, holding vigils and supporting search efforts. The case garnered national attention, featuring on shows like In Pursuit with John Walsh. Yet the mystery remained unsolved. As of today, the whereabouts of Chloie Leverette and Gage Daniel remain unknown. The case is still open, with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation urging anyone with information to come forward. If you have any information, please contact the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND or email tipstotbi@tn.gov. The disappearance of Chloie and Gage is a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring hope of a family seeking answers. Their story continues to touch hearts, urging us all to remain vigilant and compassionate. More than a decade has passed since Chloie and Gage vanished into the smoke and silence of that fire in Unionville. The official story says they perished in the flames, but the evidence, or lack of it, tells a much murkier tale. Two young children, full of life and potential, disappeared without a trace, and their loved ones have been left with haunting questions that time has refused to answer. Were they taken? Was it an accident? Or is there a darker truth no one has dared to uncover? What remains is a painful absence and a desperate need for answers. Somewhere, someone knows what really happened on that September night. And until the truth surfaces, we owe it to Chloie and Gage to keep their names alive, their faces remembered, and their story shared. If this case moved you, if you believe in justice for the forgotten and the voiceless, please subscribe to our channel. We bring you real stories like this one, stories that deserve to be heard, no matter how long it's been, no matter how cold the trail may seem. Hit the like button, turn on notifications, and join us as we continue to seek the truth, one case at a time. Stay woke, stay safe.